Hello, everybody. Welcome to Echo Underground. I'm Shanique.
This is Mike.
And on this podcast, we talk about music, TV shows, and movies, and any other interesting topics. Today's episode is going to be about the new movie in the franchise, Maze Runner, called Maze Runner: The Death Cure. And it's the last of the franchise, so this is our last Maze Runner review, even though I don't think we did one before.
I think we did Scorch Trial, didn't we?
No, we didn't. That was pre-podcast days. Yep. So yeah. This is the one and only Maze Runner review.
We did see two in theater, though. We saw the first one.
No, we saw the first one in the house, and the last two in theaters, right? Yeah. Yep. Anyway, so before I get started, share us, let everyone know who we are, like us, tweet at us some suggestions for like anything you want us to check out at Echo U Podcast, and we'll get right into it. So overall, I got like two grading scales for this. One as a movie and then one at the end of a franchise. Because I figured that's really important. So like as a movie standalone, solid movie. I'll give it an A. There was not a moment I was bored. The acting was really good. Now, I was even surprised at the ending, which I'm not going to give away. I think what we should also start doing is like maybe the second half of the podcast is spoiler. Because I feel like doing the whole thing, people might not.
I think if you work chronologically through the movie, they'll figure it out. Like, if we're getting towards the end of the movie and things will be answered here, you'll pretty much know what you're getting yourself into at that point.
Yeah. Like the first half, I think should just be like a overall, hey, this movie's good, blah, 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 type bullshit. But anyway, acting was really good. Story I thought was really good. They cast the right people. I had no issues with how it ended. It ended the way I didn't think it was going to end. Because, certain characters made it, certain characters didn't. I was like, oh, I really thought you were gonna die. Right. But overall, really good. At the end of a franchise, I thought it was solid. One thing I would say about the Maze Runner franchise, I thought each movie got better.
I agree. But
one thing the Maze Runner Death Cure did right, it explained the story better than like the other two. Because I thought Scorch Trials explain the story, but you didn't really understand fully like some of the motives of like Jensen, who I forgot the actor's name, but he was the henchman hired by Wicked to like go after these guys, and he's been doing that since season first movie, so it's whatever. And then you understand the motive more of like the other people involved, and I thought that was a really good thing. So overall, A, solid all the way through. What about you?
I would also give this movie an A. We're gonna get into the relationship into the trilogy later, obviously, so I won't give too many details away. But as a standalone, it was alright. One thing I wanted to judge it on too was how much would I enjoy this movie if I didn't know the rest of the Maze Runner series or the other two movies. And Shanique pretty much hit the nail on the head there. Like, I was like, oh, okay, the story's pretty much explained. It doesn't explain who the other members were, obviously, so it does expect you to have some knowledge. I think it's definitely one of them things, should you see it by itself, or should you, know the other movies first? I'd still recommend knowing the other movies first. It's still one of them things that have a lot of ties connected to it, especially with some of the returning characters. One of which is a pretty big deal, apparently, which I'm forgetting because it's been such a long time since I saw Maze Runner. Might be worth revisiting it by myself. But yeah, the movie was pretty solid. One thing I liked about it started off fast. The movie started and action scene. My favorite kind of action movie. The action in this movie was pretty good as well. Because the cast is so young, it has a lot of young humor in it as well, which worked out more or less well in its favor. It wasn't a big drawing part for the movie, nothing like that, but it worked out really well. I like seeing how some characters had their developments and their connections get a little deeper. I like seeing how some bad people you thought were bad were actually good. Some people thought were good were kind of crazy. We're going to get into that later. But yeah, this movie deserves a solid A. I agree.
Okay. So, here, let's start with the good points of the movie. One, for me, obviously, was the plot. I thought the plot actually flowed correctly. I was like, alright, I understand how you got for point here, why you're doing this. There was never a confusion in my mind why any of the characters were doing what they were doing. And that's a good thing. I don't want to, especially the last movie, I don't want to question why you're doing it. I want to know this is why you're doing it, keep going. Only time it's okay for me to question is if if it is a franchise and it's a cliffhanger type deal, then I'm okay. But if you're trying to solid, like, wrap it up in a bow, okay, that's fine. I need to know what they're doing, why they're doing it. I don't want to have questions unless your intention, because there's a movie we watch on Netflix. What is it called? Not the OA, the ARC or something.
Yeah, ARC. Yep, ARQ.
That movie ending was BS. I had so many questions. I still didn't fully understand what was happening towards the end, and then it abruptly ended, and I was just left. And it's not even like a part 2 so far, as I know.
We talked about that extensively. I don't think we got a podcast, but like
we were just like, what happened in this movie?
You need to understand. You need to have like a fair understanding of like time travel and time logic and whatever. I'm like, okay, sure, but
no, I did like
it would have been a good podcast. That's the worst part.
Yeah, it was very interesting. But I left it unsatisfied, and I can't say the same thing about this movie. And like getting into like my favorite character of the movie, which I think was the last movie, was Newt, oddly enough, and Mino. Actually, the main three, Thomas, Newt, and Mino, were like my favorite characters. That's the name of the top one, definitely Newt. I don't remember like how what happened to him did happen, but I was just like, okay. He was ride or die. He was very loyal. He was funny. And spoiler alert, I was very sad what happened to him at the end.
Well, we're not there yet.
I know.
Good in order. Don't give it away. Okay, if I should give it away.
No, I didn't. I said I was sad.
Okay.
You gave it away.
Fine. We're going to give it away. Fine.
No, not yet. But yeah, Newt's my definitely favorite. He is an all-around good dude. And, oddly enough, I hated Teresa tremendously in the second one. Not really tremendously. I'm not on the level of Michael.
Oh, I hate that bitch.
But you know what? This movie made me understand her so much more. It made me understand her, and I understood her the second one, but in the third one, I saw what she was trying to do. It'd be worse if she did what she did in the second one.
Not like, just
and then the third one, she was just sitting there, not doing anything. But she actually was trying to, like, get things going and trying to really be like, yo, humanity first, people second. And it takes people like that, unfortunately, sometimes to get the shit done. So I understood her. I admit she was not my favorite character in the entire series, but I understand her more. So I still consider, even though I kind of don't like what they did with the Doctor, but we'll get into that later. But what do you think? Who's your favorite character without telling what happens to them?
That's fine. My favorite character is definitely Thomas. I think in all three movies, he was like a solid ass like main character. He did everything he's supposed to with amnesia in the beginning. Like, he came into the maze, did not know who he was, and for some reason, he was like the leader thereafter. Like, that's... Pause. Yeah, so excuse me. Yeah, so I was talking about the fact that Thomas was like the main character from the first movie. And, like, he did it almost like a big disadvantage of him having, like, damn near no memory. And having him being, like, the one who did the most work as well. Because I could go through and just review all three movies right now, and... A big gist of it will be that Thomas led the shit, Like, he
Newt was right there.
Yeah, Newt was there too, yeah, but Newt was also following his leadership, all the way through through all three movies.
Yeah, okay, but Thomas wouldn't have made it out the maze without them.
I mean, I agree, okay. But like, hey, Thomas made the most progress inside those mazes, that maze as well.
Yeah, because you know what it was? He inspired other people. Yeah. Because if
that's
Thomas,
why he's my favorite, right?
Yeah, I agree. If Thomas didn't inspire those people, we wouldn't have these movies. But he can't do everything alone. Yeah. He definitely needed people, because they wouldn't be able to pull off the scene in the first movie, the beginning of this movie, without other people and everything like that. Right, other team
effort, right.
All right, so what do you think of the villains in this movie, I guess?
Oh, boy. See, I want to throw Teresa into that ring, only because, like, I know her motivation is in the right place, but her execution required a lot of sacrifice. And she's a very conflicting character to me, no matter, even though I'm pretty convinced that I hate her. But like, she's conflicting to me because like I know that she's actually like making strides in the right direction. However, it only goes to show that everything that she did was wrong because the cure was in one person. So that means everyone else who got like farmed for their immunity in their blood.
Okay, here's my thought about that. I think Thomas is the first person that they found.
Yeah.
They didn't have a chance to test all those 28 other kids. So also, it's probably in Galilee too, because he got bit. And Pell and that dude has no symptoms of it as well. So he probably has a cure as well. So I think it's in more than one people, but they didn't know who the people were.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, but at the end of the day, they still didn't know. So, like, granted, yeah, they didn't know, but what they did was still kind of shitty because they hunted down actual humans after the apocalypse, pretty much. And, you know, the whole thing with the actual doctor, the older lady, I forgot her name now. Remember her name?
The doctor.
The doctor, the main one, like from all three series, pretty much. I thought she had like a back role to Teresa in this movie, which I thought was actually appropriate. Like, don't get me wrong, she's still pulling all the strings. Like, you know, she's still.
Is she though? Is she?
I mean,
I think that's Jensen after a while.
I want to say it wasn't her, only because that weird council people, I guess they have more power than she does.
Yeah.
But I think she's the one who's mainly, you know, in charge of like finding the cure, you know. So. Yeah. I saw like Teresa making more strides in the area of being like an antagonist, but it's like it's a very gray area. I'll admit it. No matter how much I hate her, I will not, you know, put her on a on a pike and say this right here is the fucking devil. No, she was actually making good strides with the little girl too. But my first time, I actually, like, you know, felt my heart get pulled by her when she tried to save that little girl, and she actually felt better. Granted, it didn't work out that well for that little girl in the end, because like, that cure did not work. But like, you know, at least she found out like, hey. Thomas had it in his system. So yeah, I like her as a bad guy.
Yeah.
Quote unquote.
Yeah. I think the one that's probably one note is probably Jensen.
Yeah. Easy.
Only because, here's the thing. I could tell that he lost people to it. I didn't know he was, you know, where he was at. And I got his motivation again why he was so wicked this and wicked that. And I also wonder a lot of things about him. But, you know, he got what he deserved. Everything happened in this movie that felt right. Even if they would have done, like, maybe two things different, I still would have been okay with it. But I think now we could finally get into the spoilers of the movie. Spoiler! One day for these podcasts, I'm going to actually get, like, a spoiler. Like a spoiler.
Spoilers.
It's coming. Alright. So, let's start. Let's just go right into it. Here's what I thought would happen in the movie. For Thomas. Let's start with Thomas. Michael's OG favorite character. I really thought he would die. I did not think he was going to make it through the movie. I thought he would die. They would use the cure and ta-da. Like, store it and then save the people in that little haven that they created. That's what I thought would happen. I did not know he would live and end up living in the haven. Actually, I also didn't expect Newt to die because I don't remember him getting bit.
I think they addressed it in the movie as well. They said, like, you know, it's airborne. It's like affecting people at different rates. That's how Jensen got infected, because he never got bit.
Oh, that's true. Okay.
But they said it was airborne, and, like, you know, the city was gonna. Speaking of the city, the introduction of that was a pretty dope thing too. Yeah,
it was very good as well, and
it's the last city on Earth or something like that.
Yeah,
which was doing pretty well for itself. That thing, like, it's in, like, you know, 2020, you know. Like,
yeah, but what? I guess one thing I don't know about the Maze Runner movie. What year was it supposed to be?
I mean, clearly way into the future. Cause like they're like. Oh boy, I'm jumping all over the place here. But, like, you know, like,
okay, let's pull it back.
Sure.
Let's talk about basically the first scene.
Sure, that's what we can do that.
Let's do chronology, right? And I said that word completely wrong. I don't care. So, the first part, the first attempt of rescuing Mino, because he got captured at the end because of, like, what Teresa did, blah blah blah. Right. So the first attempt. They hijack one of the trains and save a couple of kids that they think are immune. And one is reintroducing us to Vince, which he was mentioned in the Scorch Trials, but I barely remembered who he was.
Same.
But he's a good fucking character. Now, in the beginning, me and Mike was like, oh, that dude's dead.
Yeah, he's the first one to go, right?
But he wasn't.
We killed him in our heads.
He survived to the end, so good job, Vince. I liked him as well. I liked that Newt was doing what he was supposed to be doing. I also liked, what you call it?
I like Brenda and that Spanish guy.
Oh, yeah. Is he Spanish or black?
Well, he kept saying hermano, so I'm assuming he's Spanish.
Yeah, okay. Well, go Spanish guy. I forgot your name. That's why I'm calling you Spanish guy. But I like the father-daughter relationship of Brenda and that guy. I like that the whole scene was well shot, well directed. It kept you on edge of what happened because you like, this is the last movie. They could literally kill anyone at any second. But they had a plan, and that's all through this movie. It looked like they didn't really have a plan. Yeah. But they had plan A, B, and C, and I really did like that, and that made me also root for them too because they weren't being stupid. Yeah. So yeah, overall, I enjoyed the first scene. What about you?
First scene was dope. I just like the fact that the movie just started. Like, I'm a sucker for any movie that has like cars and trains. Like in Fast and the Furious, what was it, 5, I believe? With the I kind of opened with the same thing. I'm forgetting which one the Fast and the Furious movie it was, but like, you know, they're trying to steal cars off of a train. And
that's the 4th movie.
4, damn it, I knew it was one of them.
Because that was when we see Dom and them again. Right.
Yeah. So yeah, I was like, yeah, that's kind of my shit, and like, they did it really well. You know, like they're clearly like, you know, the underdogs here, 'cause like they're hijacking essentially the military. Like those guys had like straight up auto machine guns, and like, you know, they brought in like the like the jet carrier or whatever it was. And the way that they outsmarted those guys on the ground with the jet carrier was pretty cool too. Like, you know, they just like lured them into a corner and like threw someone to the ground. Everyone popped up and stole the damn jet. And I'm like, y'all incompetent if y'all made that happen, but that's fine. But the scene was executed pretty well. It felt urgent. It had everyone's action scene was pretty good. You know, I think even the bad guys, like, they look cool. Like, you know, they're not necessarily like stormtroopers and nothing like that. But at least, like, you know, they make a shot once in a while. So they're pretty cool in the all black suits. And great opening to the movie. Can't complain with that, not one bit.
Yeah, I agree as well. And then basically after that, womp womp.
They realize.
Yeah, they faked this out though, because I swear I heard Mino's voice.
I think it's because he heard, he reacted after he saw them run across the roof, but I guess they stopped at the one ahead of it, you know? So they probably would have missed it by one.
You know, I think that's right. He heard Mino, but maybe the sound like carried through to the from one car to next. But yeah, so they fell in rescuing Mino, which was kind of sad. I figured they wouldn't rescue him until like the end anyway.
They must not have a movie if that's, you know, you realize that they must not have had a movie if they rescued Mino. Cause like, they really only broke in to save him. All the other stuff happened after. Well,
they could have rescued him, and then they would have. Then Jensen, but then that probably a repeat of the second movie if Jensen just chased him back again.
Yeah, because my thing is they already had plans to like leave on their boat. All they wanted was Minho. That's the only reason he didn't get on that boat with him. That's why he went with Newton, the black guy. Shit, what's his name again? Fryer, that's right. Okay, good.
Hey, I remember. All right. So anyway, yeah, they didn't rescue Mino. Thomas disappointed, and you see the little haven that they made for this, where Vince is running it, and they come up with a plan to take the boat to this place so they could start all over again from the bottom up. And honestly, there's probably, because they have like all the immunes with them, they'll probably have a better chance of surviving the virus too. Right. So I thought seeing the little haven and seeing what Thomas was doing since Mino was been captured, it was like really good. Then, you know, since they failed, Thomas like, nah, son, I gotta rescue my boy. So he goes on basically a suicide mission, but Newt is like, I'm down with you. I'm going there. And Brenda and that other guy, basically her dad, I'm calling him. That's what he act like, because he whooped someone's ass. He was like, like, where's she at? Boom.
This guy had a gun on him too, and he's just straight up punching him in. I'm like, damn, you're a gangster.
Yeah, he is.
Took his fist to a gunfight and won.
He had a whole kingdom before he left with Thomas.
Oh, true. That's right. Yeah, I remember that. Scorch Trial. That's where he got introduced.
Yep. And Brenda and them, so they basically go on a suicide mission. And that whole scene when they go on that suicide mission. So let's talk about the biggest scene in there. The cave. The little tunnel. With the cranks.
Yeah.
Now, they did so many things wrong. First question. Why did they go without guns?
I mean, they did. The black guy had a shotgun, but like they didn't have ammo.
But Newt went in with an empty gun.
Oh yeah.
What stupidity was that?
They made some kind of mistake there, I think. Yeah.
Thomas didn't even bring a gun.
Yeah, he was
gonna go without a gun.
He brought his good intentions.
What he did, and then like, you know, they're driving off, and then the guy, I think he accidentally took his eye off the road, Fryer. And they end up tipping over. And I was like, that's not a place you want to be where zombies are. Now, I do have one question, but we'll get to it when we meet that guy. But I thought that scene was really well shot. There was plot stupidity going on because Newt and Thomas especially would never go into a tunnel without a gun.
Oh, yeah.
Newt would not go. He would check his gun before he went in there, number one. And Thomas would actually bring a gun. Uh-huh. So that was just plot stupidity.
Yeah.
Just so Brenda and them could save him.
Right.
But, hey, it happens. And then I guess the next big scene is that whole city.
Well, the outside of it anyway.
Yeah, I'm talking about, like, the city where, like, the people that are infected live.
Yeah, outside the city. Like, outside the wall, right?
No, there's a city and there's the city that's with the wall.
I'm talking, the one that's outside the wall, like where the guns were.
Yeah, but that's actually a city, though.
Okay, all right. Yes, I was specifying the one outside the wall. All right, miscommunication. Go on, Shanique.
Okay, yes, there's two cities, one with the infected and one with not.
Right.
Well, apparently, maybe. And we are introduced to this, basically a slum. Like, if you ever play Jak and Daxter, the slum that you're first introduced in Jak 2, that's exactly what it fucking looks like.
Right.
It's actually almost the same principle, too. But it's basically a slum, and you have some of the people that are infected, and we meet new characters and reintroduced to old. Mm-hmm. Like, we're reintroduced to Gally, I think that's how you say his name?
Yep, Gally, yep.
And he's the one that, like, killed Chuck in the first one. And he was bit, so he's acting all crazy and shit. And he did that, and he was kind of an ass throughout the entire movie anyway.
Yeah. Especially the Thomas. Like, the new guy, kind of.
Yeah, because, I think with Thomas, it was like he thought that Thomas was putting them at risk for no reason. Because he didn't think there was anything beyond the maze, except for, like, more what the fuck. Yeah, right. So he was like, nah, I'm not going in there. He ended up doing that anyway. He got saved.
I mean, Thomas got his comeuppance because he got jaw checked immediately.
Yeah, he did.
He's like, yep, I deserve that.
So I thought that was really good. What do you think of the new guy we were introduced to?
Seeing Gally again was pretty interesting, especially everyone's reaction to him who didn't know him anyway. Later on, I'm not going to get too deep into it, but even Minho gets involved with, like, talking to him.
No, but I'm talking about...
Yeah,
Gally's not right. New. I'm talking...
No, but reintroduced, right? Because, like, he's meeting him thinking he was dead as well.
Yeah.
Because everyone essentially thought he was dead. But they do remember one thing. You killed that one guy, Chuck. So, explain that shit.
Chuck was such a sweet boy, too.
Right.
He ain't deserved that.
Yeah, he went out bad. That wasn't okay. But yeah, that was essentially what's going on with Gally. Seeing Gally there were almost pretty cool, too, because I was like, it's not too many new characters in this movie yet. They're still, like, just using the old ones. Except for, like, Vince, I guess, and I guess Lawrence in the second, the half man, half crank.
Yeah, like, he's fighting that virus hard. He's probably using his Gally's blood, I feel like.
Maybe
they never explain how he's like half crank like that.
Do they have like a weird like stockpile of somewhat like pseudo cure outside that wasn't like that fully curing, but at least slowing down the transformation?
Well, Gally mentioned that they found I was immune, so they took me. So I'm assuming they're using his blood. That's a
good assumption actually.
Because that's what they did to cure Brenda. They just extracted Thomas' blood and like did it. And I'm assuming that's what they did with Gally as well.
Right.
So, I actually like Lawrence. I have no problem with Lawrence. I have no problem with the group of cranks who were like still had their human mind. I had no problem with them because it was like, yo, y'all just leaving us to die here. Oh, you're not telling us anything.
We skipped a very important scene because Gally took them away after something very important happened when they're riding at the wall.
Oh yeah. Okay, so Thomas and the crew get there. They're looking for Mino. They know where Mino is, and they know he's behind the wall, so they're trying to get through the wall. And what happened is that because Thomas and them have the little sensors in there,
in their necks, right?
Yeah, they found out they were in there, and Jensen. They also got Jensen, yeah, and then they had the facial recognition, so they just shot in the crowd.
Yeah, that crowd got pretty much burned alive. Like, those guns are powerful. Not sure what the hell they are, but some future guns. And it pretty much melted the whole crowd.
It looked like giant rockets. Like, it's the type of shit you see in video games.
Yeah.
But, like, blasting on people. And I'm like, this is why people hate you, Wicked.
Yep.
Y'all living 10 times better than those people outside those walls.
Heck yeah.
And some of them, I feel like not all of them are infected. Infected. Did I say that right?
Got it. Nailed it.
Okay. Infected. I don't think all of them have the virus. but because they're poor, they're not allowed in the wall. I have a feeling.
Right.
Which sucks. Like, how are we doing that shit when we have an apocalypse about this?
I think my thing is you have better protection from the virus anyways. Like, you have better, like, indoor stuff going on. You have, like, you know, a military there to protect people from, you know, getting infected by people who guaranteed have a virus or who are, like, you know, who are at least, you know, transitioning into a full-blown crank. Yeah. Like, at least they got, like, you know, a whole system going on out there. In the slums, it's just the slums. It's like, you know, it's the rules of the hood for real. Like, yo,
yeah, like, who made the decision who gets to live behind the wall, who gets to live outside the wall? Like, who made that decision?
Trump.
Trump does not. There is no Trump here.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I just thought that was interesting. I don't know how long that wall took to get up, but it's apparently fast enough to keep all the, you know, undesirables, quote unquote, out of the city.
Yeah. It worked for a very long time until didn't work no more.
Yep. So I guess we can talk about the plan to get inside now.
Okay, yeah. So they had to get inside the wall to save Mino, right? Now, we saw a little bit of how they were extracting, like, the serum within Mino as well.
Yeah,
they were putting him through they put him through the maze. So they faked you out. They were like, oh god, they put him alone in the maze again. No, it was all mental to, like, basically make him, I guess, be in pain.
I guess,
or
like,
produce the endorphins, antibodies to, like, get him to, like, produce, like, a cure and stuff like that.
I guess putting you in fear or some kind of, like, heightened state of, like, excitement, kind of, like, you know, like, triggers the antibody, I suppose. I don't really know how it works, but I'm assuming they thought it was going to be a new system they could use for all the other kids, which is kind of fucked up because he was not having an okay time, and some of them kids is young.
Yeah.
So I was like, you're just going to scare the shit out of kids until they give you a serum.
You know,
for the greater good, I guess. I don't know.
Because wouldn't it have been easier just to take their blood and do all this? The same thing that Teresa did. All she did was take Thomas' blood.
I mean, yeah. And maybe I'm forgetting something as well that happened in Scorch Trials. But I'm forgetting if they did anything with Thomas's blood when he saved Brenda. I don't think it was like a direct blood thing. I feel like they did like a test on it. I'm forgetting this detail here, so don't quote me on it. But I feel like they did something to his blood to try and use it as a cure, since he was one of the immunes, obviously.
I mean, yeah, they did in this movie too, but I don't know what it was because all of a sudden the shit was blue.
Right, yeah.
So they did something, I don't know what it was.
Like, I think they mixed it with some kind of, like, chemical agent to, like, make it do some shit or, like, you know, excite the antibodies, like I said before. But yeah, I don't know. It's weird.
I don't know either. Now, going back to how they got in, there's a tunnel that leads in there, and Thomas, Newt, and Gally goes in there. And Gally comes up with a plan to get...
Well, oh, that's right. Keep going. That's right.
Yeah, Gally says, first time. This is why we need you, because their plan is basically to use Teresa to get in.
Now, we can use Teresa since, you know, y'all two have history.
That's basically it. That's why he said it doesn't work without Thomas. And overall, like, generally talking about the idea of using Teresa, it eventually triggers something because... You know, they eventually will kidnap her and everything, and she discovers that Thomas cured Brenda. And then she's like, "Oh."
And I think it's that first conversation too, where they realized Newt was also infected now.
Yes, because he started cranking out a little bit.
Yeah, he got an attitude a little bit.
Yeah, it was starting to turn him, like, left, and then that made it also more, you know, I guess, triggering. Like, no, we got to get in there. So they also could have did, Newt's infected. We got to go into the city. So either way, as long as someone was in danger, we gonna have this third movie. So
pretty much.
But the idea of using Teresa's feeling for Thomas to get in there, I think I have a question. What happens? Because remember when they confront Teresa, and Thomas said, "Do you regret it?" And she said, "Sometimes, but I would do it again." What if she says all the time and I wouldn't do it again? And he believed her. What would happen? What do you think? You think Thomas would back down?
I think because Gally was also there, like he put the bag over her head regardless. He's like, well, we got her now. We got to use her no matter what. Like, yo, we got. Yeah,
he wasn't gonna
he wasn't gonna hear that lovey-dovey bullshit. He was like, yo, she's here. We got work to do.
Yeah. So I guess, but that's another scene that, even though it was an asshole thing to say, it made me like Teresa as well, because. Here's why I say that. Because she stood by what she did. And she was right. She was like, we have to save the human race.
I believe I was doing the right thing. Right.
And she stood by her intentions. She's very clear about it. And hey, oddly enough, she did a lot of moves that helped save their lives as well, but also achieve her goal. So she was trying to kill two birds with one stone. Yeah. What do you think about that whole sequence of kidnapping Teresa and then getting her to help?
I'm gonna use that and just segue into the to the first part of the infiltration as well.
Yeah.
Because my thing was, I'm just glad Teresa did not blow anyone's cover while she saw Thomas in the crowd or whatever. Because Galley's idea, I mean, he knew it was gonna trigger Thomas, which is probably the best why he said it at the last second. So I thought that was smart of him. But everything else, I don't know. I feel like she was kind of vulnerable too, considering it's around that time when she realized that little girl didn't take well to the antibody. So seeing Thomas, she was like, yo, I need specifically your blood, Thomas, to let me make this work. Which she ended up getting, by the way, when she cut the microchips out of their neck so that they won't get sensed. So she just took one of the little napkins or whatever with his soaked up blood in it and just took it back for testing. But she did it sneakily behind her back or whatever.
Of course.
So yeah, I think that worked out pretty well in everyone's favor, and in the end anyway. Did it though? We'll get to it. That's right. I have to think about it for a second. But yeah, I thought that was a pretty interesting scene to have Teresa back as a character that we kind of love, kind of hate. They have good mutual goals. They're just going about it completely differently. Yeah, and that's the one saving factor for me for Teresa.
Yeah, and you know what's crazy? All the sacrifice she did probably saved them in the end because she developed the cure at the end of the day.
With Thomas's blood, not anyone else's.
Yes, but she was probably the only one out of the group who had the medical training to actually make his cure,
I mean, I feel
usable.
like all the other doctors in there could have done it.
I meant out of the group.
Well, in the group, yeah, you're right. In the group, yeah, but I was just saying,
they weren't going to trust anyone else.
Right, yeah, because I don't think anyone had any interest in keeping Thomas alive anyway. Jansen was full-blown kill this motherfucker. He did not care. He was on a mission to not even, follow orders. He's just I have a grudge now.
Yeah, and that's what saved Brenda. I'm pretty sure Teresa's developed some turn Thomas blood usable. So Brenda could have it.
Right.
So I'm saying she developed a cure that will probably save everyone else who's not immune on that haven.
Right. So yeah.
So she served a purpose.
Yeah, she does serve a purpose. I agree. And it worked. I'm just glad as a character that she didn't stray from the whole process of the infiltration, because that was a whole thing. They brought more characters in now. They brought the friar and Brenda in now, and I think the father figure had left. Brenda's father figure, whatever, he left to do something else, which we find out later on he does return. But
I always knew he was a part of the plan because she said don't leave us. So I was he was coming back to do something.
Right. And I just felt like that plan kind of went perfectly for the most part until Jansen appeared. Because the plan was to get the cure, the 28 cures that they had from downstairs, rescue the kids, and find Minho.
And find Minho, yeah.
Right. So yeah, there's a whole bunch of things that they needed to get done. And Newt would have definitely died regardless, even if they hadn't broken to the city because he was infected. So
I think if they didn't have any it's all right. No, we already said Newt's infected.
Okay, yeah,
we said that because that was that was in the beginning of when we were talking about why they were going into the city anyway. But yeah, so what happens with that is I think the plan would have worked and Newt would have survived had they not Jensen hadn't happened. Had they not discovered that she was on the bus.
Had Teresa had the chance to actually get Thomas's blood specifically, or at least do the testing in time.
No, but I think even if they would have gave him the serum, at least would have slowed down. Because it doesn't kill. I think Minho's blood, which we never really talked about, but his blood slows down the virus.
Right.
So at least if they would have gave some of the serum that it would have slowed down, but they would have never figured out the cure. He would probably have had to do treatments for the rest of the time.
Right.
Which is what she thought Brenda would have to go through. But that's not happening. She was just chilling and stuff. She still had the bite mark, but she was still good.
One thing I'll definitely say is after the infiltration for this movie, all the action definitely ramped up, which makes it
because they couldn't leave.
Right, pretty much this whole sequence of things, which goes on for about the next hour or so. I don't know how much runtime we had at that point, but everything after that point was golden to me. It pretty much was at a climax after Jensen got involved again. Everything was just fast forward.
Yeah. All right. So basically, they infiltrate. It goes bad. they still get what they want, but not the way they want, and then a lot of shit goes down. But let's talk about first thing first. The cranks blowing up the wall. Did you see that coming?
It was mainly Lawrence and whoever was driving his car. I did not see it coming because I felt like he just got introduced, so they wouldn't do that already. But his motivations were in the right place. Granted, it took away the city. Like they blew up the wall and pretty much the city and goes to shit, which makes the movie get even better from that point on too. But I did not see that happening. I kind of figured they were all crazy though. So I kind of, you know what? I guess I saw
it was happening because I thought the whole point was to invade the city.
Yeah.
And get through the wall. They couldn't all go through the tunnel because it's a risk of like getting attacked. So they were like, you know what? I didn't know they would blow it up then and there. What I originally thought would happen, everything would go down and then the citizens would just bust through the wall. You know, ignore any background noise. And so that's what I thought happened. But they did it when everything was in chaos and just like, or, you know, when they hacked the thing, I thought, hey, they're going to just use the defense system and open up the gate.
Right, yeah.
But no, they said, fuck opening up the gate. I'm going to open it up with bombs.
Right.
So they did the opposite. So I thought that was really cool. I thought Lawrence was a really interesting character. The next scene I wanted to talk about was mostly...
I think right here is where like Newt starts going really bad though.
Newt's death. Let's just get into it because that's a long ass scene.
Yeah, I got dragged out, man. I feel bad for Newt.
So basically, he starts getting really sick during the infiltration. Miho and Gali, they run ahead. They basically run ahead and say, hey, yo, let's do this real quick. We'll get the serum, turn back, Newt's going to be fine, we'll delay it, and then we'll figure out what to do there. Obviously, that does not happen. Newt gets progressively worse really quick because what I think it was, I think he was able to survive longer outside the city because in the city, the virus is probably 10 times more toxic. Right. So that's why he got sick so quick. And it leads to this fight scene, and Newt takes himself out, essentially. He stabs himself in the chest. And he gives Thomas something to remember him by. And I thought that whole scene was beautifully acted. I like the part where Teresa's like, oh, you could save him, yada yada, but obviously that's not what happens. And, you know, they took my favorite character out. I thought he was going to make it. And that's probably the death that surprised me the most. Because I thought he was actually going to make it until I saw his arm. And I was like, nah, you dying in this movie, bro.
I saw the black blood coming out of his mouth. And I was like, oh,
You waited that long? I saw the virus. And I was like, nah, you're not going to make it.
I was like, all right, maybe they, you know, I thought they were going to do the cliche thing where like, they figure out the cure then in the movie. And then they give it to Newt. But then, like, I was like, yo, the cure ain't nowhere near you, homie. And, like, you're like, halfway turning now. Like, he attacked Thomas a few times out of his own, instinct. And I thought that Newt was just so likable that the movie would keep him alive. But one thing I will say, though, the fight between him and Thomas, the last fight that they had, that was it was heartfelt. Like, I don't know, I felt my heartstrings being pulled. I was like, dang, actually like your brother, yo. Y'all go back to movie number 1, man. Back when it was just Maze Runner, not Maze Runner plus some subtitle on it. It was just Maze Runner. And I was like, yo, we go back. We OGs right now. So the only like OGs that they're really, so like, when the OGs got taken out, which is kind of sucked. But I really like Newt as a character, man. And that last fight too, yo, it was like Thomas was definitely trying not to hurt him, but Newt was just like, yo, he got like a knife out. He was ready to like cut Thomas up. He was definitely like, fighting out of his instinct and like, giving him some trouble. But I was like, man, this is kind of rough to watch because it's like you fighting your brother right here, yo. And I like Newt a lot too. That's definitely my second most favorite character, followed very closely by Minho. But yeah.
Yeah. Okay, what about next thing? I guess the next big sequence.
When Jensen? She realizes... Oh, go ahead. Get on.
I was thinking of Jensen versus Thomas and Teresa.
Yeah.
Now, another surprise, Jensen killed the doctor. Even though I think I saw it after she gave up. She's like, yo...
City's on fire. Fuck it, yo.
Yo, take this L. The virus is airborne. We don't have time to develop the cure. It's not going to work. When he shot her, I was like, oh, she going to die. I thought it was going to be something else. I thought she was going to be with Teresa and develop the cure. I didn't think she was going to die. But, hey, surprise. And then that whole basic scene of Jensen, Teresa, that whole scenario, what do you think of that?
See, there's a point before that happened where it's like, Teresa and Jansen, were assumably getting along because Teresa's playing a part to not give her position away. But Jensen's like, yo, she's here to save moi. Me. I'm sick and I'm hurting. I need Thomas alive to extract his blood. So it's right here. Jensen's like, yo, fuck the city. I'm just here to kill Thomas and live. Mm-hmm. Which I feel like that was damn near his character intention from the very get go anyway.
Yeah.
Like he came off like that. Like, yo, fuck the rules. I just want to kill this one guy right here. And I thought that scene went across pretty well. Teresa took a pretty big bump. Like she got her head slammed.
I thought she was dead.
I would have been sleeping, boy, if I ever got hit that hard. Because I thought like, yo, she's out cold right now.
It sounded like a fucking gunshot. It was like boom.
Yeah, for real. And Thomas, I'm glad. I like seeing every action scene with Thomas. Like he handles himself so well against the yard. Like Jensen's a grown ass dude, military trained, probably got weapons. He had a gun still, but like Thomas was definitely handling himself. It went all the way from like where Thomas got strapped down because he got knocked out after the doctor got shot
to the roof of the building.
Yeah, they went through to the that weird room where the little girl died earlier, where those infected were, which is where Jansen got killed. That entire scene was pretty cool too. He thought he was getting a chair or whatever it was thrown at his head, but he's thrown at the window that was behind him, which left him open for some cranks to come eat him or whatever they do. So yeah, that roof scene, by the way. I'm a sucker for any scene that ends with this fire everywhere. And that's pretty much what they did. They went with the cliche movie ending on top of a burning building and all that kind of shit. I thought, go ahead, Shanique. Let me see your opinion on that one first.
All right. So, one, I like that whole scenario because you saw that Teresa actually did care about Thomas, which I saw that in the last movie too. Mm-hmm. But this movie basically confirmed it.
Yeah.
And
a kiss, right?
Yeah. A last kiss because I think Teresa knew she was going to die. There was a part of the movie... I think there was one part where she's like, "Oh, we're both gonna die," and then the second part, I was like,
"One of y'all definitely gonna die."
Yeah, she was like, "Nah, Thomas didn't live because he has the cure," and she sacrificed her life for his because he's the cure.
Yep.
And she gave him the last cure too. So at the end of the day, she was still about protecting humanity. She didn't have one selfish moment. The moment she realized Thomas was the cure, she didn't have a selfish moment.
You're right.
She was like, I gotta develop this cure so I eventually could save these people, but I don't want him to die.
They're definitely changing character for her after she realized that.
And you know what I really think changed her mind about Jensen? When he said he's gonna decide who gets the cure.
Right.
She was like, nah.
She drew the line right there, right?
That is not what I was trying to do. I didn't make all these sacrifices so you can pick and choose who gets the cure.
Right.
I want to save everyone, not just... Which I feel like he would choose the wealthy and all that stuff. I don't think he gives a shit about the poor people.
People who he needed around.
So, that's why she stopped being a character I hated. Because she was very, she's probably the purest one there. It was literally for her about the people. Maybe besides the doctor. But for her, it was 100% about saving humanity.
Everyone's on the same page at that point. After they saw the city on fire, they're like, yo, we need to make sure this works. Let's get the cure out of here at the very least,
Yeah. So she was, she gave her life for that cure. And I'm 100% glad that they actually did, I guess, get the death cure. I guess that's the whole point of it.
Roll credits.
Yep, basically. So I was like, oh man, I felt so bad for Thomas when she died, but she knew. Mm-hmm. She fucking a little bit threw him up there a little bit. And she knew she was gonna die. She looked around. She's like, "This is the end. I'm not gonna see
the result.
A life outside of this virus. So hey, I sacrificed my life, and we're gonna be good because he's alive."
I'll give her that. It was a redeeming moment, especially because she threw Thomas onto the plane that was gonna save them. But the building was, it's the guy couldn't back up any closer because of the fires or whatever. So she was like, you know what, fuck it, yo. At least the important one is living right now.
Yeah, but here's the thing: they didn't both have to die.
They didn't.
Both of them could have fucking jumped. There's 5 of them.
Thomas had a bullet in him. We forgot, during the Jensen fight, Thomas did get shot. So she sort of used her strength to push him a little bit to get to the plane. But I feel like the plane could have came back with a little bit more.
Here's my issue: why did Vincent strap the thing if he wasn't going to reach further? He strapped himself to the plane, but didn't make no effort to actually reach further. Because what they could have did was have Vincent reach over the thing, strap to the plane, have the other ones hold behind them, and they could have pulled all of them. But this is a dramatic movie, and Teresa had to die.
Yeah,
that's basically
she died because of plot.
That's basically it. She didn't really have to die, but I think for her character, it was the right move.
Yeah, I agree.
And then I guess
we get to the island.
Yep, the island.
Thomas wakes up with his bullet wound, and see the result of where he got taken.
And Newt's letter and all that. Overall, good ending. I have no complaints about the ending. I like the little rock they did to remember the people who sacrificed their lives.
It's a lot of old names from old movies, right? Like the one guy who got shot himself in the head from Scorch Trial because he got infected. The Indian kid, his name was there. I forgot that he was even a thing for a second until I saw his name, and I was like, oh, y'all remembered. That was cool.
Had a lot of continuity. So good job.
One thing I'm confused about, I ain't gonna stretch on this too long, but it's like, if the Cure's on the island now, and Thomas is on the island, so the rest of the world is still gonna get fucked.
I think the rest of the world is mostly dead, though.
I mean, yeah, but I get that, but it's like, we should at least figure. I don't know.
Because here's the thing. First, they had to get away from Wicked.
Yeah, I get that.
And then they have to decide what to do. I think at the end of the island type of situation is that in America, they are probably the last ones left.
Yeah, you're right. Or maybe just in that general, region of like a couple 100 miles, maybe. As far as they know, it probably more.
They probably it as of right now to them. So, and it looked like they were it because no one talked about other countries. So let's just assume they it. Of course, they're gonna move away and start their own thing. And it look like they have enough people to repopulate, but a lot of people are gonna be relatives. I mean, a lot of them are gonna be relatives.
A lot of them young. There's probably only like 4 adults on that. Well, actually, maybe not. Countable adults that we know for the actual characters. It's only Vincent and the guy, that big guy, the big Spanish guy.
I feel like there's young adults. I feel like there's some 20-year-olds on there.
I feel like Thomas is around that. I feel like he's technically a teenager. I don't know what he is canonically by the books, but like I feel like he's probably young adult as well.
He probably is an adult now,
right? Because it's the 3rd movie, right?
And they were skipping like time, so he's probably an adult now. Mm-hmm. And the way Teresa acts, I'm assuming she's an adult or she learned a lot of shit really young,
right?
So I think they are adults for the most part.
There are definitely some younger ones there too, though.
There's some little kids.
The main ones are probably adults.
Yeah, but they're gonna repopulate the Earth.
Preferably in like 10 years.
The little kids, of course, but I'm talking about like Thomas and Brenda, and like stuff like that. Because Brenda seemed to like him, but he need time to get over Teresa. You gotta wait, Brenda. I'm sorry. You just gotta wait a little bit. They were having a moment, but he was like, Teresa. And now she's dead. So you ain't got no competition no more. You got it.
All right. Movie was good, guys. I don't got no problems with it, man. Like, I thought after watching all 3 in a row, it's like, yeah.
Good series.
Everything flowed into it. Everything flowed into the next thing very well. And it's a good story. I like post-apocalyptic stories, so I guess that kind of a bias right there, too. So yeah.
I like world-ending movies.
Same. Yeah.
No lie. Day After Tomorrow is still my number 1.
I agree.
That shit, I would have died. But that's still my shit.
Here's my thing. I'm much bigger on like giant catastrophic events that fuck the world instead of infections. Like infections are so easy to do these days. You can write them however you want. But like giant hurricanes and like random big ass blizzards and shit, you know how that works. There's only so many ways to be creative about that. Like I don't know how Geostorm did, but like the trailer at least, shit like that is kind of what I'm a sucker for, yo.
Yeah, that's true. I like Twister. What was another one? San Andreas. Yeah, that was a good one.
2012 to some extent is. The story was weak, but like the actual visuals of the Earth getting fucked up, I agree. I thought that was dope.
Okay, yeah. I like movies like that.
Armageddon, Deep Impact.
Also movies I like when they're trying to escape shit. No Escape. Watch that movie.
Oh boy.
The Impossible. Watch that movie.
Oh boy.
Both of those, I like that shit too.
If you're ever in a situation, just don't have kids. That's like.
No, the kids was like slowing them down in both movies. Yeah.
Especially in No Escape.
No. Little Spider-Man, Tom Holland, was in The Impossible. And he did his job.
Well, he's gonna be Spider-Man in the future. Of course, he's gonna be doing a good job.
Okay, Spider-Man nerd here. let's close out this podcast. Overall, see this movie. There you go. Yeah,
enough said. Yeah, especially if you've seen the first 2, definitely worth a watch.
A solid ending to a very good, in my
trilogy.
opinion.
Yep.
Trilogy. All right. So we're going to close this out. Guys, let us know what you think of Maze Runner, Death Cure. Were we tripping? Were we like, yeah, I agree. And you can tweet this opinion at us at Echo U Podcast. You can also leave comments, follow on any other social media sites, including Facebook, SoundCloud, Lord, YouTube, and iTunes at Echo Underground Podcast. We're also on podcasting apps as well, including CastBox, so you can listen to us there and leave opinions as well. And we'll see you guys next episode. Bye.
See ya.